Hello guys, so we are going to continue the discussion with respect to statistics, and in this video we are going to discuss about student t distribution. Now already in Z-stats, right, in our previous video where we learned about Z-stats and Z-test, right, we saw that whenever we need to compute or whenever we need to do any analysis, right, so here when we need to perform any analysis using Z-score, what do we require? We require a population standard deviation. We require sigma, which is nothing but population standard deviation. Population standard deviation, right? And this is already known. Like in our problem statement, this is already known, right? But understand, in many of the problem statements, right, one thing that you really need to understand over here is that population standard deviation is very difficult to get calculated or to get assumed also, right? It is very difficult to do that because we don't have the entire population data, right? So my question now is that how do we perform any analysis when we don't know the population standard deviation? If we don't know this, then how do we perform any analysis? Okay, so this is the question. And in interview, someone asks you, yes, for this kind of scenario, we use students t distribution, right? So in this case, whenever you don't have a population standard deviation, then you should definitely use student t distribution. Now with respect to this, how the formula changes. Initially, using z-score, my formula was something like this, right? X bar minus mu divided by standard deviation by root n, right? But in this case, based on the t distribution, my formula will look like this: x bar minus mu divided by sample standard deviation divided by root n. Okay, so this is how my new formula will look like. Over here we don't have population standard deviation, and this s is nothing but sample standard deviation. Okay, so this is the formula we will specifically use with the help of t-stats. Okay, now one very important thing, along with this there is also one very important parameter, because see, in when we are doing Z-stats, we use something called as Z-table to find out the area under the curve. And probably in this kind of scenario, in student t distribution, we will be using t-table. I will show you how the t-table will look like. And in t-table, there is one more very important parameter, which is specifically called as degree of freedom. Okay. And degree of freedom, DOF, is basically given by the formula n minus 1. We'll not derive this, guys, not that important, but I'll just give you a crux how a degree of freedom is basically coming up, you know. Let's consider there are 3 people and there are 3 chairs in a room. Okay. Now when the first person comes inside the room, this person has 3 different options, right? So let's say that out of these 3 options, he has selected this chair. Then the second person will come, he'll have 2 options. Let's say he's selecting this chair. But what about the third person? In third person, he'll not even have any options. So in this case, when 3 people are there, only 2 people are having options. So in this scenario, my degree of freedom is nothing but 3 minus 1, 2. So this is how a degree of freedom is basically calculated. And this will be super important when we are probably using this in doing any analysis with the help of t-test. Okay, we specifically say this as t-test, or we can also call this as t-stats. Okay. Okay. So I hope you understood this. Now let me just quickly show you how my PDF will look like. Okay. This is basically my t-table. Okay. Now in this t-table here, you can probably see on this axis, right, I have whether it is a 1-tail or 2-tail test. And here you will be able to see all the values based on the confidence interval, right? But on this axis, on the row wise, you can see there is a degree of freedom. So if you clearly see over here, there is a degree of freedom, and with respect to different sample size, you will be able to calculate different values and area under the curve, right? So in the next video, we'll try to see how we can probably we'll solve a t-table problem, t-stats problem by using this t-table, and we'll try to see what kind of output we'll be able to get and what kind of analysis we'll be able to do. So yes, this was it from my side. I will see you all in the next video.